Sando versus Ricardo Martinez is right before our doorstep. We're only a week away from one of the biggest battles we've ever seen. And we've been sleeping a little bit on Sando. His power is much higher than we previously thought. Let's dive into the action. It's the night before the fight and Sando wants to stay by his grandma's side. But his girlfriend/teacher forces him to go home and rest. And she's asking a good question. Is this opponent really someone you can afford to not give your all? She's so based that even Sando is shocked. He can't believe how much of a keeper this woman is. This is also a stark contrast to how much Kumi hates boxing and can't really offer any motivational support in that regard. See it like this. Sando's girl gives you a power buff before the fight, and Kumi is a healer that builds you up after you've broken every bone in your body. She looks at Sando's bag as he walks down the hallway of the hospital. He is slowly closing his hands, but not to make a fist. To feel the hands of his grandma once more. To feel family once more. Then, for the first time since she broke down, we see him in despair. The tragedy of mortality washes over his face, and he leaves the hospital as he most likely tries to hold back the tears of a tiger. At the same time, we see Ricardo's team. Ricardo has gained 3 kilograms since the weigh-in, which means he's basically a natural featherweight. He's probably only cutting water. His coach says Ricardo will spend the night before the fight alone to do some reflection. Exactly what Octacor Martinez would do before a fight. Suddenly Nargo says, I wonder. The whole Cinco de Mayo team looks tense. He continues. Sando is a dangerous boxer. As far as I know, he has the most destructive power at featherweight. The team doesn't want to accept this. You're saying more than Ricardo? Yes, no hesitation. This makes them speechless. Bill even agrees with him. He says Nargo fought them both. He's right about this. So you're saying he can't even take one punch? And of course they start talking about the infamous down Sando scored on Ricardo. They say that was just an accident. And now, after literal years, we finally get an answer for this accident. How did Sando knock Ricardo down? Bill says, not an accident, an incident. That down was exactly why Ricardo picked Sando. Imagine how crazy this is. They sparred only because Sando forced himself onto Ricardo, so his will made this fight possible. And now pay close attention. This will shock you. Bill says back then Ricardo told him he was sure he dodged. The other guys say they probably tangled feet or something. And then Bill clears it up. Except that after the fact he found out that Sando broke his pinky bone. What? His pinky bone? How? It was an open-handed punch. And his glove was bigger with a thicker filling. That's how he must have grazed Ricardo's cheek by just a few millimeters. Can you believe this? I don't know what to say, man. What is Sando, man? Bill says in the entire world there's no boxer as absurd as him. That's why Ricardo is so interested in him. Bro, Sando is literally a monster. He knocked Ricardo down with his pinky and the finger pulverized on impact. What is this, My Hero Academia? They say Sando has the most power in the world. In the featherweight division, of course. And he's also the hardest one to figure out. You don't know what he's thinking. Nargo says that this wildness means he'll do whatever to take the opponent down. That's what I meant in my last video when I said Ippo doesn't have the will to win. You have to be willing to do anything. Rosario had this too, but a little too much. Mashiba had it, but he lost it in the process. Anyway, the fight with Wally was just data collection for Ricardo. He was preparing for the wildness, and now his simulations are complete. He's running through the match from beginning to end, all in his mind. Octacor Martinez has finished calculating all possible scenarios. We see him on his throne, befitting for a king. He sits in his hotel room and looks at Osaka through a panorama window. And then he says, such a thing exists. What does he mean? He says, I can't see anything. Once the opening bell rings, I can't imagine what he will do at all. This is a first for me. What did he just say? In all of his fights against Wally, Gonzalez, Date, he always knew what would happen, but against Sando he has no idea? Sando is using feints even before the fight started, bro. And didn't I say we would be lured into the idea that Sando could win? This is it. Although I think Ricardo will win, it won't be clear until it happens. Ricardo turns his hand over and looks at it. He's looking at his weapon for tomorrow. How am I gonna beat Sando? But he's not nervous. He's amused. This man, he is really exciting. He's smirking on his throne like a playful king. Then we see Sando's place. He's chilling with his cat on the floor. He says, hey Tora, Grandma's hand is really small, huh? He says he can fit her whole hand into his fist. That's how small it was. And that hand was pulling him along. And now he's looking at his weapon too, with that hand. His hand looks like a tiger paw. That hand that his grandma pulled along. Tomorrow he's using it to take the world. He has to. He has no other choice. It's easy. And as he cuddles with the cat, he throws a powerful punch. The most powerful punch ever. The punch that his grandma nurtured for years. Heavy fists. He says, I just gotta hit him. The essence of boxing. We see them both deep in thought. This feels so intense, and it honestly feels like they're equals, man. I'm already being manipulated by the storytelling genjutsu. We see the Osaka castle where they both met once again, and then the arena. It's the hottest day of the year, quite literally. The flames of the two monsters are about to burn the whole arena to ashes. Fists are about to collide like steel hammers. The tiger takes on the sun. Get ready for the biggest battle of 2025.